We all know that person, right? The brilliant chef, the amazing therapist, maybe a masterful coder, someone who's just an absolute genius at what they do. But here's the thing, and it's a huge thing. Being a master of your craft and actually running a successful business, those are two completely different worlds. So today we're going to dive into why just being great at your job, well, why it just isn't enough. Okay, just take a second to read this. This quote, wow. It's really at the heart of everything we're talking about today. It's from a business coach who lived through this exact dilemma in the most painful way possible. I mean, can you imagine being part of something that could have literally saved a life, his own father's life, and watching it disappear? Not because the product was bad, but because the business side of things, it just wasn't there. It's a really powerful reminder that the stakes here are incredibly, incredibly high. All right, so this leads us right into the core of the problem, what we're calling the expert's business dilemma. And you know what's crazy? It's a super common trap. So many skilled, passionate people fall right into it the second they decide to start their own thing.
So here's the thinking, right? It's this big myth we tell ourselves. If I'm just good enough at what I do, the customers will just show up. And look, it's a really nice idea, I get it. But the reality is pretty brutal. The stats don't lie. Most small businesses, they close down really, really fast. And it's almost never because they weren't talented. It's because they didn't have the business know-how.
Okay, but what happens when things inevitably go sideways? A crisis hits. Maybe it's a global pandemic, an economic downturn, or even just a personal setback. It's so easy to see that as the end of the road. But what if we completely reframed that? What if we decided to see that challenge as a hidden opportunity? I want you to think about a pro athlete for a second. Are they trying to learn a brand new shooting technique in the middle of the championship game? No way. The real growth, the big breakthroughs, that all happens in the off-season. That's the time for practice, for learning, for retooling everything without the pressure of having to perform every single night. And that is exactly what a crisis is for your business. It's a forced off-season. You could even call it a gift of time. It's the perfect chance to stop just doing the work day in and day out and to finally start working on your business. To learn all those skills you've been telling yourself you'll get to someday. Okay, so if this is our off-season, what do we even work on? Well, it all starts with the absolute basics. We have to completely redefine what excellence and goals actually mean. Seriously, think of this part as building the engine for your entire business. Get this right, and everything else runs smoother. Think about it. From the time we're kids, we're basically taught this one version of excellence, right? It's all about the result. Did you get 100 on the test? Did your team win? Did you close the deal? The huge problem with that is, when you define success only by that perfect result, anything less feels like a total failure. And man, that just completely crushes your motivation. But what if we looked at it a completely different way? This is the reality. Excellence isn't some final destination. It's a process. It's this continuous loop. You take an action, you see what happens, and then you make a correction. Action, correction, action, correction. It's about doing, not just achieving. And this is so empowering because the process, that's something you are always, always in control of.
So if excellence is the process, what's guiding that process? It's your goals. And honestly, the Waze analogy is just perfect. I mean, you'd never get in your car and just start driving randomly, hoping you magically end up where you need to be, right? Of course not. You plug in a destination, and as soon as you do that, the system builds a plan to get you there. Your business is exactly the same.
But here's a really important catch. Not all goals are created equal. We've got to separate them into two completely different buckets. You got action goals, that's the stuff you actually do, and then you have result goals, that's the stuff you get. And the absolute key to everything is understanding which one of these you're actually in control of. All right, let's be honest for a second. How much control do you really have over the final result? Getting those 2 new clients or 1,000 views on your post. When you start to factor in the economy, what your competitors are doing, crazy social media algorithms, and just plain old luck, what's your direct control over that outcome? It's basically zero. Okay, but now let's flip it. What about your control over the actions? Making those 10 calls, publishing those 3 posts. How much control do you have over whether or not you do those things? 100%. It's completely up to you. And this is where all of your focus, all of your energy, it all needs to go right here, on the actions you can control. This little diagram here really pulls it all together. Just think of it like your business's operating system. Your approaches, that's your mindset, and your actions are the inputs. Those are the things you control. The results are just the output. And if you want to change the output, you can't just hope for a different result. You have to go back and change the inputs. It's the only way.
Okay, so let's talk about one of the most important actions we can control. And it's one that makes a lot of experts really, really uncomfortable. And that's marketing. But the key, I promise, is to just completely reframe what we think marketing even is.
I'm not a salesperson. I hate marketing. I'm just not good at it. Sound familiar? I bet for a lot of you, it does. For so many experts, marketing feels, well, it feels pushy. It feels sleazy. It feels inauthentic. It just doesn't feel like you. But what if the problem isn't marketing itself? What if it's just our definition of it?
Let's boil it way, way down. For right now, I want you to completely forget the word selling. At its heart, marketing is simply about increasing demand and creating interest. It's about making people curious enough to want to learn more about what you do. That's it. It's not about closing a deal, it's about opening a conversation. Now this idea, the marketing rectangle, is a real game changer. Just think about this for a sec. Before someone has ever worked with you or tried your product, what percentage of their decision is based on the actual quality of your work? Well, it's 0. They have no idea yet. 100% of their decision is based on how you communicate about it. And that right there is the key takeaway. In that first stage, when you're just trying to get someone's attention, your communication is literally everything. It's not always the best product that wins, it's the product that has the best communication about it. The clearest, most compelling message wins. All right, so let's tie all of this together. The whole journey, from being an expert at your craft to being a successful business owner, it really just boils down to one simple, powerful idea. You have to focus on your control panel. Focus on the things you can actually control.
You know how on an airplane, they always tell you to put your own oxygen mask on first before helping others? It's the perfect analogy for your business. You simply cannot take care of your clients if your own business is gasping for air. So building that strong foundation, focusing on your actions, your goals, your communication, that isn't selfish. It's absolutely essential if you want to be in a position to help anyone else.
So that off-season we talked about, it isn't something that's going to happen to you someday. It's a choice you can make right now. So for just a moment, I want you to forget about all the results you can't control and just ask yourself this. What is one new action, something that is 100% in your control, that you're going to take today to start building a stronger business?